All right, I'm currently on the phone with Rachel. She's another musician that reached out about the current interview session. So I'm going to go ahead and give her the chance to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Kaczynski, and I am part of the indie rock band called Rachel is Kozi.
All right, sounds good. Well, let's talk about you for a bit. Tell me about how you first came in contact with music. What about it kind of really had an impact on you and made you want to pursue it?
That's such a great question. I think I was probably somewhere between the ages of like 10 and 13 when I started listening to bands that I resonated with. And these were bands like, classic rock like Led Zeppelin and Fleetwood Mac, but also everything that was in the zeitgeist for like the Midwest emo scene. And I started to develop my own ideas around how music could be used creatively and used for self-expression, because that's what I saw these bands and these musicians and these artists doing. And it was around that time that I started to learn how to play guitar. I was self-taught. There was just a guitar kind of laying around in the family home I was raised in. And as I practiced and, I found the songs on the guitar websites and downloaded the tabs and started practicing these songs that I really liked, I started to realize, maybe I could also use music to self-express. And it was just a big snowball from there. I wonder sometimes if this is just a really common origin story, but I think having artists and musicians we look up to be the reason why we get into it, and kind of using that as a vehicle to unlock that creative expression in ourselves is pretty important.
Well, so let me dig into that a little bit. I always like to ask somebody when they say they're self-taught, did you teach yourself by listening to, your favorite artists and stuff? And you said that you kind of did, and you learned off of tabs off the internet. Did you do any private lessons or anything like that? Or was it just exclusively, learning off of tabs and listening to music?
It started as that, as learning off tabs, and then it grew into something more. Just kind of as the passion grew, it led me to reach out for more resources. So it grew into private lessons. It grew into, a daily practice routine and connecting with other musicians and learning from them, getting their input. I never had any formal, I never went to school for music, if that makes sense. I have no degree in music, but I surrounded myself with excellent musicians. I surrounded myself with people who have degrees in music and have that formal training. And just kind of through the community I've been a part of, I've gotten to sort of piggyback off of the learning experiences that they have had and what they've been able to share with me. So I'm really grateful for that. And I hope the people who know they've been a part of my journey from the beginning know that too.
Sure, absolutely. About that though, let's talk about that period of time where you reached an understanding of the instrument, where you were comfortable writing with it, and so you started actually creating songs and creating music.
Yeah. So once I felt comfortable enough with the instrument, and that includes vocals. So singing and vocals are an important part of my writing and what I want to come across in the band, if that makes sense. Because there's something to be said for that too. I think there's a misconception that singing is something that comes naturally and that it's a talent that you're just born with. It's absolutely an instrument in of itself. It's something that you need to practice and seek guidance on if you feel, like that's part of your path. But when I felt comfortable in both of these, it became a almost intuitive or meditative approach to writing for me. So I have a big part of my life is that I'm also a yoga teacher. So meditation, be it seated in a cross-legged seat or, moving meditation, like a yoga practice or a class. Meditation is a big part of my approach to life and kind of connecting with that more instinctual or intuitive or that gut feeling about what makes me me. And so when I started putting that self-expressive quality into my music, that was what felt most natural. So I kind of sit down in a quiet place. Sometimes things come all out at once and I write a song in a day. Sometimes it's something I pin and I continue meditating on. I pick it up, I meditate on it, be it I'm just sitting there and thinking through the music in my head in that cross-legged seat, or I'm out for a hike, or I'm on travels and just kind of in a moving meditation. Or sometimes the meditation is noodling around on the instrument in my voice and finding what feels good in the music itself. It's a combination of all of those things, but generally speaking, that's been my approach.
Sure. So you also mentioned that you've surrounded yourself by musicians that you are humbled by. I paraphrased a little bit. Tell me about that process of looking for other musicians and then filling out a lineup of how you wanted to present your music.
That's a really, really good question too. So some of my oldest friends are some of the people that I look up to the most. When I was in college, I'm just laughing at the memory. I used music as my icebreaker to meet friends. So I would sit on the back patio of my dorm freshman year when I first moved in, and I would play guitar, assuming that somebody would want to come by and borrow it to play Wonderwall or something like that. But at least I'd have a talking point to start talking with some people and get to know some new people. And that's how I met some of my oldest friends. So I think the principal figure in my life, as far as an excellent musician and a close relationship, has been Nick Monty. So Nick Monty, he is a trumpet player here in St. Louis, and he's a really prominent kind of fixture here in the music scene. Just excellent jazz player. You know, he's played in successful jam bands and rock bands, and he plays in Rachel's Kozi as well. And we were best friends for 10 years. And then after being best friends for 10 years, it became a romantic relationship. And I have learned so much from just having him in close proximity and sharing a passion for music. You know, he has taught me so much about improvisation and music theory, and it all just kind of came about naturally. And the other people that we were close with, Clayton Floyd is another close friend of mine, another incredible jazz musician, you know, but really master of guitar from so many different perspectives. Just having these guys around, spending our evenings together, noodling around on our instruments, you know, while we do life, other kinds of life together. You know, I might be talking about my most recent breakup with one of my exes, and Clayton's sitting over there playing Spanish guitar just because it's there, you know, and it's just a constant immersion in the learning. And we've all just kind of had our own different paths. We've all continued in music to different capacities, and sharing different paths, we've been able to come together and collaborate on some of the things that are necessary when it comes to being a band, but maybe not as fun. So like the business side of things, the marketing side of things, all of that, how it is to interact with, you know, the people that care about your music, that come out to your shows. You pick up all of those skills along the way when you share that intimacy with people who are excellent. And so when it came time to form Rachel's Kozi, I felt like I had so many tools under my belt from just kind of being on the path for so long and being around other people who were on their own path. You know, it's looked different for each of us over the last decade or so. And that collaborative knowledge about how we could get this thing off the ground as the best way as possible, the way that was most expressed the most integrity to who we were as possible. When it was time to hit the ground, we hit the ground running.
Sure, that's great.
Yeah.
So I kind of picked up a little bit there of the fact that these are people that have contributed to your music, also, you know, your journey along the way. Tell me a bit about how your band is kind of lined up. Do you see yourself as like a solo singer songwriter, or do you have like the traditional rock band kind of lineup? That's kind of what I'm asking.
Yeah, great question. So it started off as a solo project for maybe the first couple years of Rachel's Kozi's existence. But I always wanted to bring more people alongside when the time was right. Our first record was released in April of this year. And as we were getting ready to release the record, it was time to bring other people into the project. So it's comprised of primarily 4 members, myself on guitar and vocals, and Nick Monti plays trumpet, Michael Cortina plays drums, and Tito Gomez plays bass. We have 2 additional honorary members. Ian Cunningham plays keys, and he's also one of our major producers. And CJ Alexander is our other producer. He plays sax as well, sometimes here and there. They prefer, I think, to more be on the back end of the project and the studio side of things. But, sometimes we convince them to get out and play with us as well. But now that we are a band, I still do a lot of the general writing of like the lyrics and the message of the lyrics, or maybe a general structure for what the melody could be. But at this point, it's a collaborative thing. It's something that all of us are contributing to in equal parts. And that's the way that I think I always wanted it. I didn't need to be I didn't have to have like sole ownership of this thing, because I know that we're stronger together. And so I'm really grateful to have these guys in the ring with me on this, because I think we are better as a group.
That's awesome. So tell me about what is ahead of you. What are you guys planning for the future? Is it more writing, more studio time, booking shows? What's ahead?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about everything that's coming for us in 2025. So we've been touring a little bit here and there this past year, and we're building a big, bad, and beautiful Rachel is Kozi tour. It's in the works right now, and I can't wait to share all of the dates. There's also more studio time in the works, probably later on towards the back end, but we're about halfway through a second album. So Life Cycles, which was our first, she will have a little sister here soon. We're very excited about that. So we're just kind of writing these songs as we go and letting them breathe, playing them out. So if people come out to Rachel's Kozi show, chances are you'll be hearing songs from Life Cycles as well as what's coming down the line. More music videos for sure. We released 3 in the past year, and we're really excited to keep working with our director and videographer on more visual artistic elements. I think that's a lot of the stuff we're really excited about.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a great answer. So tell me about what keeps you motivated. What has happened to you to keep you in the game and keep you, focused on, developing more content?
Yeah. I think that for me, the biggest thing has been detaching productivity and my ideas of productivity from the music, and enjoying the music solely for the sake of creation. Because I think that sometimes for me, I have noticed the impact that our culture has had in a negative way on my views of productivity and even my own identity and how it relates to it. Because I think that because of our capitalistic culture, sometimes we're so focused on how much can we achieve in such a short period of time. Can I get this album out in 3 years? Maybe I can get it out in 2. I work really, really hard, and how much of my identity is tied to being super efficient and super fast. And that's just not the way that art works. I have really tried to protect the creative process and completely divorce it from any past sort of negative ideations I have around productivity, because I don't think I can be creative if I put all of that pressure on it. I think it quenches my creativity. I don't know if that's a shared experience for other people, but it's certainly been true for me. When I prioritize the enjoyment of playing out and playing my music, or playing my music by myself, or being in rehearsal and hanging out with Nick, who's my partner, and Michael and Tito, who are like my brothers, and just jamming and enjoying it and enjoying the process. Not only do I have a better quality of life, which feeds my music, because ultimately I'm writing about my lived experiences, and I want to capture my lived experiences as best I can. It lets the songs breathe and become what they need to be without any pressure and expectation. I want my art to be good. and just be good. I don't need it to be fast and have that compromise its integrity, if that makes
Sure.
sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So on that note, where can people find your art and check you out and follow you?
Yeah, so the best place to keep up with everything that's going on with Rachel is Kozi would be our Instagram account. So it's Rachel, Rachel underscore is underscore Kozi, which is spelled Kozi. That's probably the best place to keep up with where our shows are going to be and new releases. We have a website as well, racheliscozy.com, and a Facebook page. If you wanted to listen to some of our songs, head over to Spotify or iTunes or Apple Music or Pandora or literally any other streaming platform you can think of. Rachel is Kozi is going to be there. If you wanted to watch a music video of ours or see one of our live performance videos, we did a live performance for NPR earlier this year. That was super fun. All of that's on the Rachel is Kozi YouTube page as well. So we've got a page for you. We got a content for you.
Perfect. All right. Well, I always like to give the person I'm interviewing the opportunity to put out their last word. So what's a message that you have that you think people should hear?
Sure. Be love, be light, enjoy the moment, give your people a hug, spread love where you can, and keep being creative. Protect your peace and treat yourself well. I guess that's all I got to say about that. Good vibes all around.